Relationships. Okay, everybody, welcome to episode 8 of Relationships. I feel like that's our intro every time. You saying welcome and you saying, oh yeah. That's kind of become a little bit of a
That's
trademark.
Your trademark.
I guess so. Kind
of is.
Yeah, good branding.
And we have a special guest, in case you didn't just hear a female voice.
Yeah, another expert woman.
Sorry, did I speak before I was supposed to?
No, you're totally fine.
In our society, women only speak when they're just kidding. Big JK.
Oh, man. Are you trying to be the man in gold? You need to cut. We're not ready for that.
That's our future villain we're going to have. Oh, thank you.
Really?
Anyway, so this is our guest, Steph Shoell. She is a very accomplished and multi-talented woman.
Yeah, she's pretty much already an expert podcast. She's pretty much the Oprah of the podcast.
Her podcast, she has a podcast. Actually, you have 2 podcasts, right?
Yeah, or more.
Tell us about your podcast.
I have 2 that are out. So I have Notable Peeps and then Utah Fan Club.
Okay.
And then I'm working on Utah real estate. That was supposed to be a Father's Day present for my dad, but it's not out yet.
Wait,
does your dad do real?
Yeah, he has a title company. Shout out to Title One.
Whoa!
So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, her podcast, well, the one I listened to, so much higher quality than ours, I feel. It's very good. It makes me envious.
But I've also been doing it longer than you guys have. So if you listen to my first one...
I don't feel worse about myself. Yeah. It gives me something to work towards.
Oh, is that what holy envy is?
Yeah.
It's not like a bad envy?
That's right.
Okay.
I just think it's cool you guys are doing this.
Thank you.
I think everyone... Fun. I don't know. We all have our little corner of the World Wide Web to put out our stuff.
That's true.
So.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper than golf. And
there you go.
Not that I'm a golfer, but
yeah. So her Notable Peeps podcast, very positive, very inspiring. She basically finds cool, impressive people from around the world, and just has them tell their stories. It's really cool.
Yep.
I don't know. Do you have anything to add? You're a better spokeswoman.
No, that's about it. But I'm ready to dive into talking about dating.
Okay, she's enough of that.
No, thank you though.
Sure.
I just don't want it to be all about.
Thank you. Okay, so let's start with a recap of last week, and then we'll talk about some news, and then we'll get into it. By the way, today's topic is called Fear, the Great Preserver or the Great Destroyer?
Dun, dun, dun.
Question mark.
And a lot of exclamation points.
You put those in.
I did. I put everything in after the question mark.
Yep. Okay, but to recap, so last time we talked about
the vices and virtues of the virtual.
We had Shayla as our guest.
Yeah, correct.
We talked about the ways in which social media helps and hinders. You look like you have something to say.
No, I just liked that episode.
Oh, thank you.
It was fun.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool.
I think we started out on a somber note talking about suicide in the U.S., how it's gone up almost across the board. And previously we talked about loneliness, which is also way up. Anyway, there's some big concerning trends in our society, but we're not going to talk too much about that this time, at least.
Yeah, probably smart. We got to balance it out.
Yeah, exactly. So I have some news. Do you guys have some news? Because I do.
No. What is your news?
Even if you do. So I just got back from a trip to where I grew up in Portland, Oregon. I was helping a sibling move there, and the trip out there was very boring. But being there was great. I spent a lot of time with 2 of my nephews there, who really, really love Minecraft. And these are not the only young boys I've met who love Minecraft.
My nephews love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he fanatical about it?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd say it rises to that level.
Okay.
Of fanaticism, but they do love it.
Well, it seems like the Minecraft fanaticism gene seems to run in my family.
I think I could have predicted that. I don't mean that in bad.
But I think that gene, it's out there, not even beyond my family. It's just a very popular game.
Okay.
Sorry, Steph, in case you did, well, you probably right.
Well,
we shoot the breeze for a while.
Is Minecraft the one that you have bombs and...
there are bombs in it.
I think I'm thinking, what's that thing on the computer?
You're thinking the Minesweeper.
Oh, Minesweeper! Oh, classic. That's classic.
I knew that it wasn't the right one, but that's what I was picturing.
Yeah, that is a classic game.
Stop laughing.
I don't think Minecraft is 2D. But I don't know. No, it's like you build things. Isn't it kind of like Lego kind of world where you
very
build
much
things?
So. Yeah,
same as the other one.
Is it actually Lego or is it?
It's not Lego. Although in real life, if we're talking about the virtual versus the real world, like Lego has definitely capitalized on the Minecraft success, and there's like
they're making Minecraft stuff. They're co-branding
Lego brand Minecraft stuff. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, pretty soon there's going to be like relationships Legos and relationships Minecraft stuff. I mean, we're assuming we can only go up from here. So,
that's right around the corner.
It's going to happen with Steph's podcast as well.
Yeah,
we're all going to ride the wave.
Made it. Yeah, when you get Legos made of you.
Yeah. Well, they did come out with. I actually heard some very recent study that was talking about video game addiction that they're starting to like classify it as a legitimate thing now.
I think that's true. I think it can be an addiction. Absolutely. Very often is.
But maybe your
not for me.
Nephews aren't.
I can stop anytime I want.
I just can't stay stopped. Your nephews it probably doesn't rise to the level of addiction, but they just play a lot. I mean,
they just love it. And I mean, I'm not their parents, and their mom is my sister, and she's got completely reasonable concerns about how much screen time they spend. You
didn't do like a Bryce intervention, like, look, buddy, I just want to extrapolate the rest of your life for you. On Minecraft and off Minecraft.
Yeah, no, if anything, I was an enabler. Well, I was like, cool, guys, what's going on in Minecraft? Tell me more. Yeah. No, but I think you could do a lot worse as far as video games, because it really taps into the creative mind, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. It's not like violence and stuff.
You fight like pixelated monsters and stuff.
Okay.
I mean, again, like anything, as we've said before, anything in excess can be bad for you, even water.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, yeah. It's okay to kill pixelated monsters.
That's right. Especially if they're hurting the local pixelated livestock.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Okay, anyway, let's move on. Okay. So also we were going to, we had some vague intention to make a Father's Day podcast, which never happened.
We'll just push that back
later. But thank you, fathers.
Was doing some
Thank you, mothers, too.
Yeah, thank you, mothers. Yeah. This is the part where Bryce sings a song. I did have some
we'll splice that in later.
Yeah, I was researching some interesting stuff about the roles of fathers in the lives of children and stuff. Mm-hmm. It was really cool.
Which is that it's irrelevant, stuff. Right? Completely irrelevant. Doesn't matter. Yeah. You can just have a upturned mop with a bucket on it. That's your father. Doesn't matter.
Some people think that is what I am.
Sorry, go on.
No, but it was really cool stuff. So maybe someday we can go over it. It doesn't have to be Father's Day.
Yeah.
It can be mid Father's Day or something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, and then my last... I always bring in the most riveting and timely of news.
All right.
But I also want the world to know that on my trip, my crown fell off of my tooth. So it's like...
that sounds painful.
It's not painful because I had a root canal, thankfully.
I thought this had happened somewhere else. I thought I was at something when your crown came off.
You might have been. We might have been in the same social event.
Where was it? Oh, I thought... Wait, so it didn't come off on your trip then, did it?
Maybe not. I can't. Either way, I have a loose crown. And when I'm enjoying my food, then like suddenly I bite onto something hard and I realized my crown fell off again. Anyway.
Oh, man. That's crazy.
Anyway, those are the entertaining stories I have to tell.
Do you ever have
This is a very lowbrow compared to your podcast, Steph.
Stop. No.
She's like, what did I get myself into?
No, I just don't have a lot to talk about when it comes to video games or crowns.
And crowns falling off. Sorry.
No, but I enjoy listening.
Okay, well that's a good feedback. So we know, what is appealing to women listeners. It's not talking about Minecraft and my crown falling off. It's not relatable.
Well, this is really increasing our teenage audience, and maybe our retired audience.
The dental audience.
Those dentures.
Those dentures. But I was gonna ask you something, and I forgot what it was. So
that's cool.
I was gonna say, have you ever had those dreams though, where you're losing a tooth or where a tooth is loose?
No, but what does that mean?
I don't know. People have different things that they say that it means, but it is a fear-based thing, which fits with our topic today because we're talking about fear today.
We are.
Some people say it's like financial fear. I actually had this weird dream. I have this weird tendency to have these dreams that I have, and then I logically reason my way out of them, and then don't have them anymore. And so the last tooth
way to
dream,
conquer your fear.
Yeah, I feel like it is kind of the last one I had a loose tooth, and I asked this girl in my dream, "Do you know where there's a dentist? Because my tooth is loose." She said, "I think so." And I started following her down some staircase, and I had one tooth fall out, and then another, and then another. And I said, "Wait a minute, this might be a dream." And then I woke up.
Dude!
And I, as far as I remember, I have not had a loose tooth dream since.
Wow, way to go. You're like Neo.
It was like
from
Neo.
The Matrix. Yeah, you mastered it.
I was in the Matrix. Anyways, all right, enough of floating my own boat.
Any more important news to share?
No, even that wasn't important news.
But that was a smooth transition.
Yeah,
so
that was
fine.
That was
smooth. Yeah. It was about fear.
Okay, well, let's talk more about fear.
Yeah.
By
the way, do you guys like scary movies?
Yeah.
Slightly off. Oh, really? I hate scary movies. I hate paying to get scared. Steph?
I don't love scary movies. No. I like haunted houses, but yeah, I don't love scary movies.
I feel the opposite. I don't love haunted houses.
Really?
That's a little too real.
but so you enjoy experiencing fear in controlled settings?
Yeah,
would you call it fear?
Might be.
Would you call it fear?
Or
more like being startled?
It might just be like my own morbid curiosity, which ironically I get from my mom.
Okay.
Who, by the way, we're talking about fear. That was a woman with very little fear. With my mom. Anyway, but yeah, I do like scary movies.
Okay. I don't. Like the scariest movie I've seen is Sixth Sense, and people laugh at that because they're like, "That's not that scary."
It's pretty scary.
But I kept seeing in my mind that kid who shot his head off.
Oh.
And I was staying at home alone because everybody was out of town for like a week, so I was like, "I'll just leave the highlight on. Nobody needs to know I'm afraid."
How old were you?
This was in my 20s.
No, I can't watch scary movies because I remember even like The Dark Knight. The Joker on that. Like I had nightmares about that.
Really?
And that was in my 20s too. So.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just don't love scary movies.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not just about fear. Also, it's people. That's a pretty dark movie, and people.
Yeah, that's true.
People don't necessarily like that.
And the actor died,
yeah, that's true.
So, wasn't that a suicide?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't an overdose? It was an overdose.
It was like an overdose. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't.
I don't think it was an intended suicide. But speaking of Batman and fear, so Batman Begins, one of the big themes of that movie was about fear, right? It's about how Batman has this fear of bats. And also...
That guy plays on people's fears because it magnifies people's fears. When
Sorry, we're alienating our fears.
No, again. I just can't remember all the Batman movies. I was thinking...
There's like a million of them.
There's been a lot of them. And a lot of them have been terrible.
I was in a conversation last night at the side job about like every single Batman movie. Yeah. Okay, well, that's true. No, it was about fear.
Yeah.
And also, speaking about fear, our roommate tried to scare me the other night. When I got up in the middle of the night to do something, I could hear him moving around the kitchen, and then all of a sudden he was silent. And I did think to myself, he's probably going to try to jump out and scare me, and he did.
So you knew it wasn't an intruder?
I knew it wasn't an intruder, yeah.
But I hate when people do that, because my sister, shout out to you, Cammie, because this is something that I hate. She will go in my, this was a couple years ago, but she would go in my room, and she would just, stay there under my bed for, seriously, minutes. I would walk in my room, and then 30 minutes later, she pops out.
That
and that is,
awesome.
That's, taking creepy to a whole new level.
That's dedication.
Because everyone in my family, I feel tries to scare me. My dad will pop out, or, someone will. But, to, sit in someone's room for that period of time and then pop out, it's creepy.
Yeah, that is totally scary.
Sorry, we're so supportive of that.
You creeper,
this traumatic event in your life.
You hear something moving around in the room.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
So there was this. Okay, never mind.
Anyway,
there's a story that I decided not to tell. Let's move on.
I should exhibit more of that self-control too. Okay, so let's talk about the role of fear generally. So there's this. So you guys probably know from previous episodes, but I love The Office, the television show The Office.
Sure.
So there's this character, Robert California, who's in some of the later seasons. He's this very intense, supremely confident CEO, and he's always playing these little thought experiments and actual experiments with them, and he's always saying deep, profound, challenging things. Anyway, so for the Halloween episode, he's asking each person individually what they're afraid of, and for Kelly, she's afraid of being single her whole life. For Creed, you guys probably don't know this character. For Creed, he's afraid of snakes. Kevin's afraid of mummies. Anyway, and then he concocts this story at the end that incorporates all of their fears, and then he ends it with some like punchline saying, "Get over it, guys. Get over your fear." Okay. Anyway, that was a lot of context. He has this great quote. He says, "Fear plays an interesting role in our lives. How dare we let it motivate us? How dare we let it into our decision making, into our livelihoods, into our relationships? It's funny, isn't it? We take a year to dress up in costume and celebrate fear."
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like that's a profound quote from The Office.
Yeah, well, the writing was very good on that show until like the last season when the head writers left.
I stopped watching it after Pam and Jim got together.
Got married or got together?
I think got married.
Okay, because my sister feels that was a turning point as well.
And why is that? Because that was the climax for you?
Well, but then didn't Michael leave too?
He left a few
I don't remember.
Later.
It just like got to a point where I used to watch it on Thursday nights. It was like big, but yeah, then I just stopped watching.
It definitely got weaker over time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But anyway, yeah. Go ahead.
But speaking of Halloween, are we really celebrating fear, or are we celebrating dressing up?
I think that's really it.
I feel like it's more kind of like a Mardi Gras thing almost.
Yeah, it's true. And
but
candy.
Yeah. Anyways, off topic. My best Halloween costume ever was chicken farmer. And yeah, because we had live chickens at the place that I lived at, and we had the Halloween party at our house. And so all I did was I put on a cowboy hat and I held the chicken in my hand and just walked around. It was the best live prop of all time. Everybody wants to talk to the guy with the live chicken.
Chicken poop was all over you.
Well, you would think that.
And that was the fear.
Yeah, it's true. Now, surprisingly, chickens have more control than you would think, and so they just wait until you put them down, and then they go back to them. Yeah, our chickens did.
That's nice of them.
And I would rotate them out. I would like switch it for another chicken and be like, now it's your turn, Bubba.
Yeah.
Whatever. We didn't have any named Bubba. I had a chicken as a kid named Hubba, though. Yeah, anyways.
Anyway. Okay.
Yeah, totally unrelated.
So Robert California, so he's talking about, how fear, we celebrate it even though it can influence us in ways which are not necessarily positive. Now taking a step back, from the evolutionary view, fear is seen as a life-preserving instinct.
Yeah.
That it protects us from mastodons and from saber-toothed tigers, right?
Yeah. And other tribes and whatever.
That's right, yeah. Protects us from harm and danger. In the modern world, it's its usefulness, I think, is more of a mixed bag. We still need to be afraid of like dying in a car crash and adjusting our behavior accordingly.
Yeah.
By driving safer, which, by the way, people where we live don't do a very good job of because there's always car wrecks.
Don't drive very safe. Man, this is nothing compared to Phoenix. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. So our fear instinct can still help us, but it can also work against us. It can dissuade us from scary endeavors that are worthwhile. It can skew our decisions in ways which don't fully mimic or don't fully account for realities. It can even cause us to undermine our own relationships, usually subconsciously.
And yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, and of course, I feel like as kids we say that whole sticks and stones thing. Like, well, fear keeps us from physical harm sometimes, but I feel sometimes like our emotional harms last with us a lot longer. And so that whole sticks and stones thing is a little bit backwards. It's not really true that sticks and stones can hurt my bones, but names can never hurt me. Yeah. That's not really true. Like broken bones heal, and you kind of forget about it, and it's not a big deal. And names and emotional scars that you have, man, like some of those, they don't go away your whole life.
Yeah, very, very true.
So there's some of that fear is really deep rooted, and it's really hard to unlearn what you have learned, kind of thing.
I think that's true. What do you think, Steph?
No, I think that's a great point, especially like with rejection. Yeah. Because a lot of times people...
You're talking about like in a dating context or just in general?
Like, I think you can apply it with anything, but in dating, I mean, you talking about like words or different things, like you try not to carry that to like the next people you date and project like, well, like that person thought that about me, so this person is, but it's just hard.
The stuff's all deep rooted,
and it becomes kind of becomes habit unconsciously.
Yeah. Sure, it's true.
So how do you guys get over that fear then?
Well, it's a good question.
That is a good question.
Let's
talk about that in part 2. By the way, we're going to split this episode into 2, so it's more digestible.
Okay.
So, I also just wanted to opine. I think fear is a component in how our relational kind of actually very much going to what you're saying, that it plays a part in our relational expectations. Back, in the episode where we talked about expectations and relationships, I also opined there that I felt that there are some expectations which are kind of defensive. It's like we're protecting ourselves from painful things we've experienced previously, and so some of our expectations are defensive. Others are like more offensive, like more stemming from our self-esteem or self-worth. So, for instance, like, someone who, I'll speak from my own experience, who's, dated an introvert, for instance. And I'm not, I'm more of an ambivert. But maybe you had
you're totally an extrovert, but go ahead.
I have I can appreciate a lot of quiet time too.
Okay. Peas classically need more quiet time than other extroverts.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, but go ahead. Oh.
Anyway, we'll talk about Myers-Briggs another time.
Yeah, we will. Stop.
But if you had an unpleasant experience with somebody you dated who maybe has a very different personality for you, like in my case, it might be someone who's a little bit more on the introverted side, that can become part of your expectation where it's like, I absolutely cannot date introverts.
Okay.
And it's, at least part of what maybe underlying that is, I had this bad experience with this person, and subconsciously, I'm assuming that's going to happen again with anyone who fits this same characteristic. Which may or may not be true. Anyway, the point I'm making is that fear plays a role in our expectations, or it can play a role in our expectations.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I feel like I probably experienced that with height differences in dating.
Because Paul's very, very tall.
Yeah, that's right. Amazingly tall. Now, my friends all told me I was a certain height, and I went to the doctor, and she said, how tall are you? And I said, well, I think I'm this tall. My friends all say I'm this tall. And she said, we better measure you. And then she said, your friends are lying. They all said I was taller than I really was.
Oh!
And they said, and then they would say, well, you have a big personality. Thanks. But, for the longest time, I had not dated anyone taller than me. But then I did at some point. The first girl I dated that was noticeably taller than me. It did bother me for a while. But then after like about a month, it didn't really bother me anymore. But then the next two girls I dated were incrementally 1 inch taller than the last. And the last one had a hard time with it. And it was like the big thing in our relationship.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about it all the time. And so, yeah, I think
has that instilled a fear in you of women who are taller?
The next girl I kind of perceived was even taller than that one, but then I had kind of rebounded back. So I don't really know. Maybe it has. I do think it makes me more. I don't know if I've become more fearful because of that experience. Actually, I don't know. I don't know.
And maybe
I think there was always a fear there.
Okay.
That's gonna be a showstopper, or it might be.
Right.
But it hasn't been.
Yeah.
That fear might have actually gone away a little bit. I don't really know.
And I think it's a fair question to pose. Like, is there a difference between like this visceral emotion of fear versus like the rational mitigation of risks?
Yeah.
Where you can consciously say like, hey, X, Y, and Z are risks that, that I know are real. And so I'm trying to steer clear of those risks.
Right, and you're computing this like on your relationship calculator.
On your relational risk calculator.
As you're talking with this girl, and you're like, spreadsheet. I'm afraid the risk level is too high.
And then you text her, good news, you scored 87% on with the algorithm.
Not nerdy at all.
Exactly. Would you like to see the spreadsheet of my data?
Yeah.
Okay, so those are good examples. How fear is a component of the development of our expectations.
Yeah.
Right. Usually when fear is involved, it probably skews our expectations in unhealthy ways.
Yeah, I think so. And, fear is a part of being human. And, there's a lot of difficult or scary or painful things that we all experience. And some of those are very traumatic, and there's nothing wrong with that, but
that's true.
But I think fear can accompany those in ways which can undermine us. Yeah.
Sure. I think fear is a part of being human, but I think fear is also a part of being alien or animal. It's a universal emotion. Maybe even plants. feeling.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know.
But don't you feel like with fear, I was just thinking about it, I think it creates that self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, I have some friends that, like, on dating apps, they think that they look better in pictures than in real life. So they already are going into the dates not feeling confident.
Oh, sure.
Or, I don't know, I just think that, like, a lot of times those past experiences, like we were talking about that leave a mark, that is really what can create that self-fulfilling prophecy.
Very good point.
True.
Yeah.
We do play all these negative mental tapes in our mind.
Yeah.
And we tend to think, I feel like catastrophicism is pretty common. Like, we think to ourselves, like, oh, how is this not going to work out? Or that's our fear. It's just not going to work out. But in fairness, when you get to this age, like, and you're single, you've had a lot of relationships not work out. So that can feel sometimes like a reinforcement of that fear.
Exactly.
So that's
because like my thing is, I feel like me and older guys don't mesh, and so I always date younger. Mm-hmm. But then I'm at a weird age of 32, and so it's like on dating.
Oh, you have so much time. No, I know.
No, but on dating apps, like people probably have their age up to 30 or whatever, and so. But I find that like whenever I go out with a guy that's around a certain age, like I think part of it is in my mind where there's this mentality of like. Older guys, it's sort of like a dime a dozen, because if they're like have a good job, they aren't weird, and they're attractive, then there's a whole bunch of girls that like them, and so then it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy for me.
I don't know that that's been Bryce's experience, but possibly.
But you guys are you are old. Like when I'm talking, we're like the same age.
What you're saying is completely reasonable.
Right?
What you're saying is very reasonable.
Let's
not talk about it. We're both older than we look.
As soon as we get off this podcast,
and possibly older than we sound.
Yeah, no, people regularly think I'm younger than I am.
Yeah.
And my doctor's like, "How old are you?" And I say, "Well, my friend Sam about this."
And then you dream of your friends. But okay, with that though, like I feel like I have some friends that we try to be good friends and being like, no, that person is just not into you. If he's not asking you out, whereas like other friends are probably like, oh, they're probably busy or like whatever. But me and my friend Jill have just decided we are going to be good friends and not lie to each other.
Okay.
You know that
that's good.
I think guys will always say that same kind of feedback as well. Is if you ask a guy, "Oh, is this guy into me?" That's usually the question he'll ask. What is he asking you out? Because usually, by the time you're asking that question, you've had enough interactions that the guy probably has picked up on the interest. But that's not always true. But
so we are about at the 30-minute mark. We wrap up. And then
so
we will continue this.
That sounds like a good plan.
Okay.
Fear. We will continue on this in this valley of fear that we are in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say.
Okay.
One of my pet peeves about fear is when my roommates lock the front door when there's people awake.
Okay.
And in the front room.
Bryce is talking about me.
Not just you, but definitely you.
No, it's true. Okay. Bryce, I would argue that this is a healthy fear thing. Because
this could be a rational mitigation.
Are you locking the door because you're like entertaining a lady and you don't want him to walk in?
No. I'm locking the door because I run my business from my home, and so I have a lot of stuff here that's valuable to me. That if I were to lose it, it would really cripple my business temporarily. Yeah. And so I always say it only takes like 1 second to flick the lock.
It is extremely. My gripe is extremely petty. I will admit.
I will say though that when I first moved here, the other roommate was the one that was a stickler about locking the door, and I wasn't. And I loved being able to just walk into the front door and it was never locked when someone was here.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, huh?
The reason we stopped doing that is because what would happen is somebody would not leave when they left. And then someone would not lock the door when they left, and then everyone else would leave outside the other door. And so no one would be here and the door would be unlocked.
Yeah.
That's changed, though, all you robbers out there listening to this podcast.
Oh, we have guard dogs and lasers.
I was like, we have guard snakes and
guards.
octopuses. Yeah, we have events. We have a knight in shining armor and chainmail.
So be afraid.
Yeah.
Be very afraid.
And we will find you.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, let's wrap up for now.
It's a good fear to end on. Okay.
Yep. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Later,
and tune in for part 2.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.